2, 3. What's up, guys? Scallic here. We have Peter the Brown back with us again. What are you playing today, Peter?
I got second place at Rivals OTS Championship, 43 points, with Skystriker. So,
Nice.
rounds 1 through 4, I did not drop a game. It was really nice, really strong. Joel Worthing is also my team. He also played, Joel Manera, and I all played my list for Striker because it was really solid. I did fine. I did really well. But the last one I faced Dragon Maid, I killed him game 1, so I was like, wow, like we're not even going to win at all. And then game 2 did not go well. I didn't draw raid game 3 either, which was really lucky. But really happy with the deck. I think it's really strong. Probably going to play this again at the next OTS Championship because it's just really reliable. It's the anti-Drytron deck too, so like a lot of Drytron players here. And if I had faced the one I did face was pretty free. So there's a lot to talk about. I could talk about this deck for hours, but like
Yeah, let's get
it's changed
into
a lot between now and when it was.
Yeah, because Striker's an old deck. It's been around for a while.
Yeah, but it's super reliable, which I really appreciate.
The sauce, though.
Yeah, so
It's retro.
yeah, a fair amount of raise. Sometimes 1 second, I will side one of these out because you will see an extra card, which changes the math a little bit, especially if cards are trying to come in. But definitely, Rose is insane. Helps you out Dragoon. It helps extend, make access to a Doctor. Rose is such an insane card. It definitely, I thought it made it like a lot harder to play, which I thought was really interesting because it's not as like forgiving as Raid because he's not like, oh, it's dead. I just ride my guy. Like you have to play better. But so it's all in sections. So 3 of the good one. You don't need 3 of this, but it is definitely good against Drytron, but it's easy to get to. There's your consistency. 2 booster. It's probably a bit different. Card's insane, and it helps a lot with the interactions that people put up against your Skystriker Kagari. It helps ensure your access code results. So when you go for the kill shot, that's one big difference between this deck and how this deck was previously before Engage was banned, is access code Docker is now legal. And setting this up for a kill shot is really important. And so many times we'll summon access code Docker, it gets Veilered, or someone tries a new Beer on it, I just go this. It ensures the kill shot. It's really reliable. So I love Eagle Booster. It's Forbidden Lance on steroids. It's searchable. You can set it up with Shizuku and it ensures that you won't die, because a lot of times against like the combo decks, all you have to do is make sure you see it on the turn because then you kill them. Especially like in grinder games where like they're low on life and you need to get a high Ate in, you can just ensure, you can play this to ensure your Shizuku or whatever doesn't die, and then you high Ate and kill them. So it's awesome. So
Nice.
love Eagle Booster. It's better now than it ever has been, probably because access code is legal. 2 of the broken ones. Definitely, I don't know. Kind of realize that, like, I feel like the beginning philosophy with this deck is like, oh, Engage is like by far the best card. But I think Multi-Roll is the most important card in this deck. And whenever I Desires, which I do play, the first card I check to see gets banished is Multi-Roll, because that's definitely the card that like makes your deck work, because it makes your it's just the sole charge of the deck. So it's if you banish Engage, you still have Multi-Roll, you're still fine. If you banish Multi-Roll and still have Engage, it's winnable, but Multi-Roll is like far more. And if you have both, like so you banish both in decks. 3 Desires, because it's pot agreed mathematically. You're not going to banish both of these. If you have one of them, one of either of them, you're fine. If you banish both of them and it matters, then it's unfortunate. But mathematically, it's such a huge plus for the deck, especially since you're trying to break boards a lot, and every single card matters, and this card's a +1. So the obvious one. I've never needed the second one of these, but it's really good. It's really good with Rose, because Rose revives itself when you kill an extra monster with this. 2 Shred Raid in main for the pass back, because this deck simplifies the game state with hand traps, and then it establishes a Skystriker monster, attack with high Ate, adds Engage, or something like that. And then on the pass back, when the game state is already a bit simplified, Shared Red is more powerful in that situation. So even though I call second blind, Shared Red is really good. 1/9 because it's silly. You can search for the terraforming. And then these obvious cards. So one of the best things spells. So those are obvious. And then hand traps. 3 Ash. 3 Veiler. One of the more reliable hand traps right now. I just played all the good ones.
Veiler over Imprint?
Yes. You play Baylor specifically because of Celine. It does matter. That's part of the reason why you can't always size out all the Baylors, because for the kill shot, Celine is a spellcaster. I also think that Baylor is kind of better because a lot of the situations where you need Baylor is cards like Axical Doctor and then cards like the Tri Brigades, and it's just really good to be able, the fact that you can't really interact with this card other than Call by the Grave. The fact that you have to set Imperm, it plays into the cards that this deck's already pretty bad against. You already have Widowmaker, you don't need Imperm, you have Widowmaker. If you can play Imperm in addition to Baylor, but I would max out on Baylor long before I would consider playing Imperm over Baylor. And then my favorite hand trap, I told everyone to play 3 of this card, and every single deck they played no matter what it was, because this card is super reliable. Revolt's a very warped card. Don't know how that card made it through R&D, but here we are. This card is good against everything. It's very reliable. Every time I drew this card, I felt very safe. It ensures that your Kagari won't get hit by random stuff like DD Crow, but mostly it's like, it's good against every engine. Good against Kagari, good against Frank Kids, Rocket, and the Bird. It's good against Drytron cards. The big one is Revolt. Good against Call by the Grave, because they try to, a lot of times you open multiple hand drops, and if this one's short, you only have to roll. So that was my favorite. So that's that. This is the wrong after deck. It's pretty standard. 3 Kagari, 3 Shizuku. I've never needed a third Hayate. If you end up needing a third Hayate, play better. So the reason why I play Hercules base either. You never need to recycle these cards, or I usually get pot of average either, because you should just win by the time you summon a third Kagari, or especially a third Shizuku. And I've never needed a third Hayate. One can have no need more. Zeke, also one of the differentiating factors. This card was engaged with ban when this card came out. This card interacts super well with Rose. I love this card a lot. It helps out problem cards. This is how you break boards, because especially with Ray and Grave, they can't really interact with this card. It's just revives Ray. But if they have an extra monster, you can banish it, and then Rose triggers. Super nice. It just helps destroy boards. Phoenix, one differentiating factor perhaps that did not play House of Firebricks, played Hita instead. The main thought process was, I thought Striker would be a lot more play than it was. Unfortunately, I didn't play any Striker, and then when I looked around the tables, I didn't think a lot of people were playing Striker. However, all my friends and I are playing Striker, so I face one of them. This helped give me the edge. This is like the same thing as Hulk, in a way. Like, yes, Hulk is a more streamlined way to do the kill shot, which is where you go Hulk into this, summon Baylor, summon Axis Code, and kill them. I thought that this accomplished a similar thing. Because a lot of decks play fighters. So Fractal, for instance, Lamseys, Ash Blossom, of course, is a big one. And this kind of is a spellcaster. So you don't necessarily need to summon Baylor from the deck. If you do this plus a monster, if you want to make your monster, this is a spellcaster. You make it lead. So the one downside to this is that this card summons in defense mode, and so you can't revive this monster. So you have to have already set up, but oftentimes like you have so many monsters that it's fine anyway. I thought that the main thing is that in the mirror match, being able to summon Kagari is massive, because they just will not beat you if you are summoning Kagari more often than they are, because they're running Kagari before you if they're not playing this. And everything else was more important. Like, I could drop this, but I'll lose against anti-spell in order if I don't play this card. So like, it's not that I thought Hawk was bad, it's just like I barely thought the card was better. Maybe if people are playing less Sky Striker, I would consider playing Hulk over this, but I thought it was fun. And then the kill shot, credit outs random stuff like Dragoon, and then the kill shot.
When you see every full art trainer in there, they were in opposition.
Again, I'm going about Striker, but it's the anti-Drytron deck. Of course, it's a bit of a mathematical simulator, because if there's something an infinite gate thing like Herald Perfection or Ultimateness, yes, all your cards trade 1 for 1, so you just negate all of them. But mathematically, 12 hand traps in main plus this and plus Phantasme, you will just draw hand traps. You should. And this card is standing as Drytron for obvious reasons, so it's a Drytron card. Another differentiating factor. This one was a bit more of a risky thing, a kind of a last minute call. I looked at the Prank Kids matchup and I was quite concerned, because I don't think any of the Skyscraper cards interact at all well with the Prank Kids monsters.
Sometimes they just don't wait.
Truck Cannon is a blank. Widowmaker is not that great because they contribute Battle Butler and pop yourself anyway. They have so many monsters anyway, so Widowmaker isn't even that impactful. It's hard to kill them through like the Weather Washer. I thought that even though the basic play of this Prank Kids was they go prank, meow, summon a guy, make the bird such a thing, it's when they play their fusion spell that you play this, and then they do lose a lot, and they have to out this somehow because they just invest so much. Because the point of the deck is that it sets up a larger fusion play where they'll just out advantage you. So this card gets in the way of that, and I thought it was better than Skullmeister. I don't still think Skullmeister is very good because they can extend through it really easily. Skullmeister, I think, is a very weak card. I'd rather have Boundless Meister in basically every situation. This card is a supplemental hand trap. I don't think alone it does enough against Frankens, but it can. Like in theory it does. And it does overlap against Drytron as well, because a lot of them only play only one Medionis. It's just Drytron and Prank. I really wouldn't play against anything else. I'm not even sure if I'd play it against the fusion deck, but it is like possible. So I can play against Alistair. It is good against those decks. But I thought it was a good pick. And 2 Phantasme, definitely don't want to draw multiples of this, why you only play 2, but it draws into the better ones, the ones that actually do things. Pink, because you can order an anti-spell, which is really important, and then you also air 0 target this, which is hilarious to the ones. Third Tread Ride. And I guess the last thing is, I played these. This little Space Typhoon is in my deck, which is fascinating. But we had a long discussion. I kept telling Joel and Juan over and over. The card is a lot better than Twin Twister because there's no back row this deck really cares about besides anti-spell and order. So you play these cards because that's the only thing you care about. Because Tri Brigade, when they side against you, they're not siding really hand traps against you. They're siding anti-spell and order. Because those are the decks that just those are the cards that just lock you out. So this is specifically designed for those cards. Because if they flip anti-spell, you can't do anything. But the problem with cards like Twin Twister is that, first of all, there's nothing in this deck that trades favorably with Twin Twister. Every single discard matters. Like, if you discard a card, you feel it for real. It's not like discarding BA, or it's not like you're discarding like an Eldritch card. It's Twin Twister is always a neg. Plus, the other thing is that there's no other back row you care about. So why are you trying to twin extra card? If they have multiple anti-spell order, you're playing a mathematical game where I hope you hit it, you know. But just anti-spell order. So, you could play 3 MST2 Cosmic because this card is better because you can hit your own area 0 to extend. I think that matters a lot. But I guess one thing that does matter is in the mirror match, this card is really important because you can hit their multi-rule and it's gone. It's just banned when you Cosmic it. And I guess Eldritch too, but this deck kind of eats Eldritch. So that's my dissertation about it.
Awesome.
So I don't know how much I would change other than I think the deck's really fine. Other than maybe I would consider swapping this for Hell. It came up once where I felt I still won, but I just felt wow, this is much harder without it. But everything else is it was such a tough call. It's a meta call, so otherwise that's kind of the thing. So
cool. Well, awesome. Thank you very much for your deck profile.
To my friends who all play Striker. The Team
The deck hates me.
Striker best deck. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Ray is the way.
Ray is the way.